Can you believe we just wasted 2 hours of our lives listening to more professional development about RTI? It's not like we don't have a million other things to worry about.
I don't know. It kind of seems like RTI is just a more purposeful way to think about a lot of the interventions we're both already doing in our classrooms.
Trust me, I've been doing this a long time and it's always the same story. I have a handful of kids who are going to understand it, even if I don't do a great job teaching it. I have a big group of kids who understand after getting some practice and getting instruction in a few different ways. Then I have that other group.
What other group?
The group of kids who just aren't going to get it. It's the same story every year and there's really nothing I can do about it.
So, when you're teaching something to your class, let's say adding with regrouping, and some of your students don't understand, what do?
I would usually put the kids over into a small group and try to explain it to them in a different way.
And what if that didn't work?
I would probably think about the skills the students need to have in order to regroup in an addition problem, maybe basic math facts and place value understanding, and make sure they had those skills.
Honestly, it seems like you're on your way to implementing RTI in your classroom without even realizing it.
That's just teaching. That's not RTI.
Think about it. RTI is response to intervention, right?
Yeah.
So, I've been in your classroom and I know you consistently use interventions with your students. It's so much a part of your teaching that you don't even look at it as anything extra. It's just how you try to make sure all your students understand what they need to understand. I would say the next step would be to add some sort of assessment to figure out if the interventions you're using are working.
Where am I supposed to get the time for this? Administration keeps adding more to our plate, but they never seem to take anything away.
I definitely understand where you're coming from. I guess it helps me to think about it this way. We all teach because we want to make a difference in the lives of our students. RTI gives us the data we need in order to make the biggest difference possible. I guess what I'm saying is, I know we can't always do everything we're being asked to do in a quality way, but student learning is our top priority, so we should probably make RTI a priority as well. Anyways, I really don't think it's going to be as bad as what you're picturing. If we stay focused on math, how do you already assess your students in math?
Well, I give the unit tests we all have to give at the end of each chapter. Also, our grade level gives tickets out the door assessments and also quick informal morning work check-ins.
Now, when you give these assessments, are you consistently assessing the same skill?
Sometimes, but not always.
Well, if you want to use this to monitor student progress, you'll want to make sure each assessment in a set measures the same skill. That way you can see if the students are progressing towards their learning goals, and you can also reflect on the effectiveness of your interventions.
That makes sense, since two assessments measuring two different skills would be a terrible way to measure growth.
Exactly. So what do you do if they show they don't understand an objective at the end of the unit test?
Well, I try to get back to it and go over it with them again, but you know how it is. Sometimes we just have to move on.
So this is where I feel like RTI could help. You're already using interventions every day. Now you just need a way to monitor whether these interventions are effective.
Sounds time-consuming.
I mean, not really. You give your students quick assessments all the time. Things like the ticket out the door or independent morning work assignments. Also, think about the checklists you already use while you're observing your students during math. All those things could work for progress monitoring.
Really?
Sure. I mean, as long as each of your assessments measures the same skill, they should definitely work as a way to progress monitor and assess growth.
I'm starting to see the benefits, but I'm still worried about the time all this is going to take.
Think about it this way. By thinking purposefully about your interventions and planning them ahead of time, you're wasting a lot less time trying to figure out interventions to use on the fly that may or may not be effective. Instead, you'll be using interventions that you know are effective based on the evidence you're collecting. And if they're not working for a certain student, you can make adjustments for your interventions for that student instead of wasting time repeating an intervention that isn't working.
I guess I might have just been looking at it the wrong way.
It's really just which perspective you choose to take. Nothing we're being asked to do in the RTI process is really different from strategies we're already using in the classroom. It's just the process of using these strategies to get more information. And if you think about it, in the end, the information could actually make our job easier.
I don't know about easier, but you've convinced me to be more open-minded. I guess I can give this RTI thing a try.